What's poppin'? It's your boy, the boy, Henry Heck, back at it again. After a long weekend of playing some Call of Duty. But I want to touch on this whole Last of Us 2 remaster, remake, re-something. You know what I mean? It's gonna be something. And you got some folks on the timeline who really don't take too fondly to the idea, you know, which I think is mainly because we this deep in the generation, and you know, all they did was a part 1 remake and then a port of that part 1 remake and a TV show. You know, they working on a multiplayer game, they're working on some other unnamed game, but we've not really gotten any news about the multiplayer, any official news, I'm gonna say, except that concept art, and that's about it. You know, folks putting 2 and 2 together, following the breadcrumbs, and folks leaving and been put on ice, etc. But Naughty Dog themselves ain't really came out and said that, and so this, I put stock into it when they sack up, hit the timeline, and let the folk know what's going on. But as far as unofficial news about the game, it ain't been nothing too positive. You know what I mean? So folks seeing them at this point, it's a remake studio and they working on an unnamed IP, which we don't even know the name of. Usually PlayStation got a good habit of when it's some bad news, they'll follow it up with some good news. And Naughty Dog ain't letting nobody know nothing good. You know, in my opinion, if they're gonna drop the director's cut, they could have went on ahead and dropped that joint around the time Ghost of Tsushima dropped theirs, around the time that Death Stranding dropped theirs, instead of waiting all these years after the fact to put together a remaster, remake, again, whatever you want to call it. Because looking at part 1 remake, if that's what you want to call it, I played it and it was pretty much just a better looking version of Last of Us 1 remaster. Everything else was pretty identical. I'd actually have to go back and finish up that part 1 it's confusing. This past part 1 that dropped last year, I gotta go back and finish that joint up because it was the remake of a remaster of a game. You know what I mean? It kind of getting a little confusing with all this remaking. You know, especially with it's just not been enough time passing for that type of stuff to be going on. And I guess you could say maybe that's why they waited so long. They want to capitalize off the show, or line up with the show, or whatever the show got going on. They want to be right along with it, which would make some sense. You know, they want to be ready for when season 2 drop. They're gonna drop that part 2 remaster, remake, director's cut, again, whatever you want to call it. And so that's about all we getting on PlayStation from this studio right now. You know, the remasters, the remakes, as far as Naughty Dog. PC port didn't do all that well as far as performance. I don't know how much it sold. I'm assuming it sold well. I don't know. I'm not even gonna look, to be honest with you, because I don't really care how good it did on PC. But my thing is this: follow what PlayStation do. When you got some bad news, drop some good news along with it. You gonna say, hey, we got this remake, remaster coming along. That new IP, drop a font or something, drop a title, drop a concept, or drop a something. You know what I mean? Because people on PlayStation just go, all right, we played this. You know what I mean? This ain't new. You know what I mean? This ain't, we've been waiting all this time for something and we not getting nothing. Sure, it ain't been on PC, but they chose to wait. They could have went and bought a 5. They chose not to. Oh well. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be a PlayStation studio. You're supposed to be appeasing to PlayStation. Dropping some old stuff later on PC is not, it's not news. That's a blog post. PlayStation blog post right there. What PlayStation Nation supposed to do with that? Sure, it's some people that didn't play it that's gonna play it. Sure, it's some people that gonna replay it. You know, again, but that's like I said, it's director's cut at best. you know, unless they gon' throw a version of the multiplayer up in there, then it'll be something to be excited for. You know what I mean? If it's a little double pack, you feel me? Cause like I said, they haven't officially said anything about the multiplayer. So if they drop this, it includes the multiplayer. Okay, that's a dub. That's a dub all the way. But an issue with that is, folks gonna be like, so since we bought part 1, we gotta buy part 2 to get the multiplayer? Or will we just be able to, if we have the game, we'll just be able to download it and get the multiplayer? How's it gonna work? How the logistics? Ain't my job to figure out the logistics. You know what I mean? That ain't. I don't work for PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure they can figure something out as far as what they gonna do for the folk if they do it that way. Like I said, that's just me speculating. There ain't no guarantee. They ain't said anything about it. That probably won't even happen. I'm just saying. I'm personally not gonna buy it. Just because I'm not buying it don't mean ain't nobody else gonna buy it. There's probably some folks looking for it, man. There's probably some folks can't wait. They got their knickers in the bunch, waiting on this remaster, remake, whatever it's gonna be. I'm gonna just call it director's cut, because to me that's like the most definitive you get when you bring a PlayStation 4 game to the 5. You know what I mean? Director's cut. Ain't no such thing as a remake, remaster no more. It's a director's cut over here on PlayStation. Everybody else getting remaster, remake. Over here you get you a director's cut. It's probably more accurate to just describe a remaster as a director's cut, but you know what I'm trying to say. Because a remake, that's a whole different ball game over there. They doing new story, in my mind. Remake, new story, better graphics, of course, and just expanding on stuff, or either going a whole different route from what the previous version did. And then too, okay, they could say, okay, it's a remake, right? And they could be following more along in lines with what they're gonna do on the show. Because to my understanding, on the show, it's some things that were the same and some things that were different. So they could take that same approach as far as this game. So it'll be a different new experience. It'll just be, but how would you call it? A part 2 remake? I don't know, bro. This is confusing to me. Just thinking about it, shit confusing. Because I wouldn't have done it. But again, like I say, I'm sure they're just trying to capitalize off what they got going on with this show. Again, no benefit to me. I didn't even watch the show. I don't care that much about, you know what I mean, the Last of Us universe. I don't care much about it. It's just I don't know, man. I got this weird thing with apocalyptic zombie games. It's like, as far as in media altogether, it's like we get 100 of these a year from TV shows, movies, various. It's just, I don't know. I'm kind of burnt out on it altogether. But again, part 1 was legit. I enjoyed that game, and I enjoyed part 2 remaster. I mean, part 1 remaster, I guess you'll call it. Well, part 1 remaster 2. You know what I mean? That was a good joint right there. I like the whole experience of it. But yeah, it's confusing, man. I hope when they drop official word, because again, this ain't even official news right here. This ain't even official, like a police whistle. This is just some hearings. This is just some comings and goings. What we heard in the comings and goings online. Again, Naughty Dog ain't said nothing. They ain't said nothing since they got on stage sharing some concept art with Factions 2. Other than a couple of devs saying they cooking and they working on something that wasn't the multiplayer, which is the new IP, which we don't know the name of. We don't even know what style of game it's gonna be. We don't know when it's coming out. We ain't seen nothing. We ain't seen no character design. We ain't seen no name, no font. We ain't seen none. We ain't seen that for this game. So they have been they've been absent this whole generation thus far. They've been absent. And they supposed to be one of the premier they supposed to be one of the most premier studios over here at PlayStation Nation. And the stuff you put out is just a remake and about to be another remake and a TV show. You know what I mean? that's just my take on it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just not vibing with it. I like in this case, when it comes to stuff like that, you got to tell me something, cause it's just too much negativity, and then the stuff that we see that might be coming is just remakes. I mean, are you a certified remake studio now? Can't be, cause you're working on new IP. But that's all. Come on now, speak up, say something, cause it ain't looking too. It's not looking good, bruv. You know. And again, not saying they not. Of course, Naughty Dog ain't in trouble. PlayStation ain't in trouble. It's just, you know, it's too much room to speculate. And when you get full room to speculate, they gonna speculate. You know what I mean? I really just want Factions 2, to be honest with you. I just want that multiplayer game, man. They can do fuck all with everything else. And drop that multiplayer that we've been waiting on. I've been waiting on it. A third person shooter. All we got right now is Division, Div 2, and ain't no PvP worth PvPing over there. I needs my PvP, man. Drop us a game. Drop me a game where I can get my PvP on. You see me on card right now, but it ain't third person. You know what I mean? It's FPS, and it's a beta. This ain't gonna be here long. Come on now, dog, shine some light on the folks. That's all I got for right now. We'll catch y'all in the next one.